What is up, OTS fam? It is amazing to be gracing all of you with our dulcet tones today. Amazing to be back here on the sideline, guys. I'm joined here by my guy Derrick,
Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
as you
sir.
all know, I am Chris. Welcome back to the sideline, guys. It's a new year, 2023. So much is going on in the wide worlds of sports, as always. So we got a lot to cover here. I'm not trying to front load all the pleasantries, but I think it's important that first and foremost, we let you guys know the most important things about our book of business. And that begins with our socials. So please make sure that you follow, most importantly, before you follow us, make sure you follow the brand at OTS Media on all platforms. No, OTS Media on all platforms, OTS Media Co. on YouTube. Is that correct?
No, it's the opposite way.
Ah,
OTS Media
I
Co.
felt
all
so
social media
smooth.
platforms.
Oh,
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
you heard the
You
man.
had
So
it.
make sure y'all follow me. Don't get it mixed up. I got it. I already did that for y'all. So make sure you follow
Yes,
on those
sir.
platforms, and then you could catch me on Twitter at Negron MMA. Sitting at 474 right now, so really
Let's
excited to
go.
make that push to 500.
Yes,
And you
sir.
can also catch me on Instagram at Chris Negron _ Derek. Where can they find you?
Yes, you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. And like Chris said, follow the OTS social media platforms. Oh my God, OTS on all social media platforms. OTS Media Co. Um, and if you are following us, like the show on Instagram, the sideline guys underscore OTS, we are going to shut that down. Everything that we were planning to do under that account, we're just going to do it under the OTS account. So yeah, make sure to follow that. We got a lot of stuff that's going to be done on that page this year. So thank you guys for following. Please be patient. We are going to be doing a little bit more this year.
And it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to
Yes,
it.
sir.
So, with all that being said, I think it's very important that before we get into any of the sports specifics, that we talk about the most important story in sports right now, right? So, um, Monday night, obviously, everyone knows what happened with safety Darvin Hamlin and his injury on the field and still battling for his life at the moment. I'll say it as frank as possible because I feel like a lot of people have been taking the good news. Don't get me wrong, it is great news, but it's still not the news that we're waiting on. So just want to make that
Mhm.
very clear. There has been um, really good advancements as far as him showing improvement in his health, but he is still on life support. So let's make that very clear. Like, this is still a very dire, critical situation. He's in the ICU still. So prayers for Darvin Hamlin first and foremost. Please, if there's anything you can do, whether donating to his foundation for the toy drive, at this point, anything you can do to try to a further the cause, and b just be a good person, right? Like, this is a moment in history that it's rare to come across. I just want to say that, like, it's rare to be a part of something like this in sports. And I
Mhm.
don't want that to get uh left on the wayside as this week's schedule of games just continues to sort of roll on. So I'm really
Yeah.
interested to see, and why don't we start there, right? Why don't we start there? So to make a very brief summary of what happened on Monday night, there was a play where, very routine play towards the end. The ball wasn't even involved in this play, but there was a collision between him and T. Higgins that looked like what I would say is a pretty routine tackle situation.
Yeah.
Um, T. Higgins, on review, right? Because I obviously at this point watched that clip many different times from many different angles.
Mhm.
Um, that there was clear contact with T. Higgins' helmet to his chest. Obviously, not
Yeah.
intentional, not anything that looked malicious or even extraordinary, right? It just looked
Yeah.
like a regular routine play. And what was the scariest about it is he gets up immediately on his own accord, on his own, in his own power, right after the hit, and then there's a big delayed reaction where he just falls back entirely. And as a combat sports fan,
Mhm.
this is something that I've been talking to a lot of different people about, because people weren't even noticing this. But
Yeah.
when he did fall and collapse, he was out before he hit the ground. There was
Yeah.
no there was
Yeah.
no sort of self-defense reaction or anything like that. He immediately fell back and hit his head really significantly hard. Obviously, you have a helmet on, so people discount that, but any
Mm-hmm.
really the second impact syndrome is a big cause of death when it comes to concussions in sports, and I know this
Yeah.
because, and this is something I'm very passionate about as well. Obviously, being a big combat sports fan, um, I think the strangest, saddest, and most heartbreaking part about situations like this, no matter the sport, is I feel for the most part, when you look back at the tape, it isn't something where you're looking at something egregious, right? It
Right.
usually is something routine like this play that leads to something so significant. So after literally on field had to do CPR, and then from there, still in critical condition, as I mentioned, not breathing on his own and be intubated at the moment. So I think that first and foremost, what's important to note is like shocking stuff, right? As I'm watching the game, I was actually talking to Logic like as it was happening, and I didn't see the play itself. I just knew that someone was injured, right, on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I even made the joke to Logic. I was like, what are we waiting for here? Like, why don't we like get it going, right? Because that's usually what happens when there is injuries like this. And then he's like, no, like you gotta see what happened if you didn't see what happened, because we're probably gonna be here for a while. And literally, on the field, ambulance had to come down and take him out because of how dire the situation was. So I think first and foremost, when sort of talking about initial reactions and everything, I feel like there's so much backlash and so much to talk about as far as media coverage and all these other things. But the first thing I just want to ask you, on your opinion, how do you feel about the NFL and how they handled the situation live as it happened, and then
Mm-hmm.
how they're going about things in this week moving forward?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff to consider with this because I know I personally didn't get to see it live either. I had just turned the game on. When I turned the game on, that's when the ambulance was starting to, I think, to come onto the field, or actually, it was just getting off the field. So I didn't get to see that part of it. Um, but once I saw the replay, I was like, oh yeah, there's no way you can't you can't expect players that are that emotional to that just witnessed this to get back out there just a few minutes later, and feel comfortable that they're going to be okay, because now you're playing with more on your mind in terms of like what you're doing, right? And I feel like doing that was going to risk further injury to other players. So I was glad that they decided to not play anymore. But I think that because at first it looked a little routine, because it did look that was a routine tackle. That's a routine tackle. That's a routine, break up. T Higgins going right up, trying to break through the tackle or whatever. That's a routine move. It's just that it was at the moment and the impact. Of course, we know, I forgot the name of it, but we know the whole thing about in terms of like hitting the chest at the right moment to cause such a episode. Um, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I hope that people that are blaming T Higgins for this would stop. I think that's very irresponsible and not fair. That's not fair to him to do that, because he didn't intentionally go out and do that. You're now going down a slippery slope when you talk about intentions at that point, right? I'm pretty sure he did not think. I would be willing to bet some money that he didn't. That's not what his intentions were, right?
Yeah, Darvin was changing his level, right?
And
Like,
he was changing his level. It's we can't look at something in slow motion. And this is all sports, right? We can't look at something in slow motion and uh, view it through the lens of slow motion when it's at high rate of speed. You can't do that. Now, there's certain things we can say, yeah, they may have been able to do this, that, and the other, right? But at the same time, there's so many factors that go into it where you can't. That's a split second decision, right? And That's what you taught through in football. Try to get as many yards as you can as a receiver, as a running back. Like you're trying to get as many yards as you can get, right? That's all Higgins was doing. So especially Bart Scott, I would love for ESPN. Actually, not just ESPN. I would love for all networks that discuss sports. I would love for them to actually take an evaluation of themselves after this whole thing, because there are people that are saying a lot of bad things over this this whole thing, and it's really starting to put it's really making things worse. This isn't, like you said, this is the time for everybody to come together and unite, and we haven't seen something like this before, right? I think if I could really think of something that somewhat was like this, was Ryan Shazier's injury,
Hmm.
where you started seeing everybody kind of pull together and everything like that, but it wasn't to this magnitude. This is on a national, even global scale.
Hmm.
So yeah, my initial reaction was I that there's no way they're going to be able to go back on play. I think there's been a lot of things out there, and I don't know if we can have if anything's actually confirmed or not in terms of what the league initially said. But I'm assuming protocol was go ahead and continue
Hmm.
once things were cleared and guys got a chance to warm up. Right? That's protocol. That's kind of what's kind of expected.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that the coaches came together and talked and decided, hey, let's go back to our locker rooms and try to regroup. Which is at that point where they decided this is done. I don't know what's going to take place in terms of like rescheduling the game, because it's Bengals are going against no, I think the Bills are going against the Patriots. I forgot who the Bengals are going against.
My Ravens, yep.
Ravens. Okay, so like,
Big divisional games. Yeah.
are we looking to reschedule this specific game? Because I know they've discussed it, like it's a possibility, but like, where do you do that? How do you do that?
Hmm. And this is why I asked you just off the top, like how you felt about the NFL's response, because I agree with you. I don't think that at all, as far as the way the game was suspended, was on the NFL. I think that was because of the coaches, and if it wasn't, I
Mm-hmm.
think they would have been fine with continuing on the boat, and that in itself really puts a bad taste in my mouth, especially when you
Mm-hmm.
hear the way Skip Bayless and a lot of other people were reacting
Yes.
to this and saying basically what the show goes on here. Like, what, this is a huge game. The magnitude of this game. Look at the reality of it, right? They suspended the game. That is a big game, and it
Oh yeah.
determines playoff seeding. But let's look at the
Yes.
reality of it. Does that matter at all right now? No, no, it
Mm-hmm.
does not. They can void that game and give both teams a no win or no loss for it, and it doesn't change anything about what happened. So I think the league should really learn from this. I doubt that this is going to be a regular occurrence. We might not even see this again in our lifetimes. But
Mm-hmm.
I think moving forward, man, you have to show more tact than you did. Like
I agree. Yeah.
I think this was very careless and very short-sighted, because there's no reason why an hour after this happened and we still haven't gotten word on whether or not he is alive. Frankly,
Right. Right.
we're still trying to entertain whether or not we're playing this game. And I know a lot of people will hear this and be like, "Yo, you're soft. Like, why are you being soft?" That that bro, miss me with that shit. Like, this
Oh
is
yeah,
a
for sure.
fucking game. I don't care about how you feel about the sanctity of it and why you follow things because it's sacred. No. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is about something much bigger than a game, about someone's livelihood and their family, and all of
Mm-hmm.
those things are being entirely discounted by when you do things like that. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you ended up postponing the game, you did it too late. Like that's how I
Oh
feel
yeah,
about
for
it.
sure. They definitely, yeah. They took a long time. That made no sense. And like, what if Hamlin died on the field?
Hmm,
What if he did? Right? Are you still looking to continue the game?
definitely not. Yep.
No. You're not, and I'm pretty sure there would be people that would still voice their opinion and say, "Go on, move on, play the game," right? Which is foul. I mean, there are people that this is how sick we are as a society. Not only do you have people that want to continue to watch the game itself, you have people that were paying attention to their fantasy football teams,
But it's
and
championship week, bro. Shut the fuck up.
bro, like I had both leagues that two there are two leagues that I was in that was up for the championship that of course it got impacted by this, but to be honest I didn't care that that was a thing. I'm not worried about the championship.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. It is what it is. There's no way that we should be sitting here talking about fantasy football or a game when a man's life is in the balance. And he's still, like you said, he's still not in the clear.
Far from it. Definitely.
He's not in the clear. I
And
mean,
that's what
prayerfully
bugs me out
he,
about this too. Like I know that they're talking about whether or not they're gonna play the game that was postponed. But hell, there's a game this week. Like I understand the
yeah,
Bengals being fine with moving on, but we haven't heard anything from the Bills. Like,
at
are they going to
all.
be ready to play? Like, I would assume not. Like, there's
No,
still no
no,
answer. And that was another take
yeah,
I heard too on that day, where people were saying, like basically, how long are we going to wait for an answer? Like like when you get the answer, how long are you willing to wait for that to continue to move on? And to me, like that should be the last thing on anybody's mind. Like I have no issue if the Bills don't play another game into the playoffs or however they feel, whether or not they play at all in the playoffs. Like I feel like
yeah,
they reserve the right to make those decisions, and the fact that everyone is trying to get the traveling band back on the road is ridiculous to me. As far
yeah.
as NFL games in totality, and this may sound like I'm being short sighted as well because I just fought against it. But as far as other NFL games, I don't see an issue with that continuing. Like as far as
Mm-hmm.
I think there's supposed to be a game tomorrow, right? So like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
see an
yeah.
issue with that necessarily because it's different when you are directly impacted, right? Like even if the Bengals were to say they weren't comfortable playing, I would have respected that as well.
Mm,
I just think it's a different conversation than when you are talking specifically about the Bills.
yeah.
So word still, I mean, it's Wednesday right now. Word still hasn't come out on the status of even that game with the Patriots or the previous game that was postponed. Honestly, I
Hmm.
really don't care if we don't get an update on that until after
We
Sunday. I really don't.
we don't need a game. Just give them a tie and move on.
Hmm.
Just like honestly, if you really want to make a big deal out of it, just give them a tie, move on with it with the rest of the schedule. There's nothing because like you said, you know, I can understand other games being played. And I mean honestly, if you're not going to as the league because you're thinking about it more so from a business perspective, right? You're not canceling all games. Like that's not happening. You're not canceling all games. Um, but to be completely honest, I wouldn't have been mad if they did
Yep, me neither.
because I don't see how like and yeah, I'm gonna watch my Eagles play this weekend, right? But at the same time, like I don't know how anyone can sit here and actually watch the games and enjoy it. I don't know how you do that. Like these men created a wall around Hamlin to make sure that the cameras could not see what was going on, right?
Yep.
Which much respect to them for doing that. However, the psychological impact that's going to end up having on these guys, I don't know how they continue.
Hmm.
I really don't know how they continue. At least not this season. Like I really hope.
And if
And
they
this is
do,
gonna
honestly, even if they face up against my Ravens, I'm rooting for them. right? Like, I
Oh,
hope
for
that doesn't
sure, for
sound
sure.
childish, but
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it is.
yeah. I mean, I think at this time, like you've got to. I think you have to do what's best for the players, and to be completely honest, they're not going to. They're not going to. But I do hope. I pray that Hamlin pulls through, right?
Hmm.
But I really hope that this does open up the conversation for like what type of benefits that players are able to get if careers are cut short, if they have to retire for physical reasons or mental reasons, or if they, because I know like Brandon Brooks, offensive lineman for the Eagles, he had to retire because he was having anxiety attacks, right? And it was so heavy that he was throwing up before games. He missed games because of his anxieties being so high, right? So um I hope that this actually opens up the conversation, because if Hamlin died on that field, I don't know what type of compensation his family would get. He's playing on a rookie deal. You know what I'm saying? Like
Probably
I
nothing.
don't,
Yeah.
probably nothing. Probably
And
nothing.
good faith, like I think
They
people will
probably
band
would pay
together
out.
the way they did,
Yeah,
right? Like people would band together, and I'm sure the
yeah,
league would do something, but
yeah.
there's no written rule on how that
There's no
is handled. Yeah.
exactly, and likely the Bills, and this is God forbid, but likely the Bills would have paid out his contract to the family, right? Um, but there has to be something in place for players that are like, and every single one of them. I don't care if you're talking about third strings. I don't care who we're talking about.
Hmm.
If you're employed by the NFL, there has to be some type of uh, um, coverage for you and your family if something were to happen to you
Hmm.
like while playing the game. Like if you're forced to retire, Ryan Shazier is a perfect example. He has not played a game since that injury, right? He had to retire.
I don't think
So,
he's gotten full faculty of his body since that injury,
I mean,
let
he's
alone
walking,
play
but
again.
not regular,
Yeah.
not regular. I think I really hope that they go back and my my prediction on this, and this is like far out type of thing, right? I don't know when like they're up for renegotiations with the NFLPA, but my assumption is that there is going to end up being a strike over this, over what happens to players if something happens to them
Yeah.
on the field. We're not talking about like uh, uh, broken bones. We're not talking about like Achilles, ACL, like tears and all. We're not talking about any of
That
that.
should be included too, though. Don't get
That
me
should
wrong, but
be. That
yeah.
should be. But we're not talking about that. We're talking
Yeah.
about like life threatening injuries, right? Because we don't even know if Hamlin's going to be able to play again. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck
We
that.
really don't.
And that's insignificant. Whether or not he's
It
gonna be
it
okay again
it
is
is,
the main
but
story.
but the point, but my point is like he's got to go and play to get the money, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So if something were to if he you know prayerfully he's able to come out of this and be whole again. But if for some reason he's not whole and has to, like, he's forced into retirement, take for example Tagovailoa, Tagovailoa, Voya. God, you know what I'm saying? That guy, Tua. He will likely have to retire. So now you have two players in one season. There's something that's happening, right? Where we don't know if they're going to play again.
Hmm.
So what is the league going to do for them? That's my biggest question. What will the league do for them, and how will they be able to be covered for the rest of their lives? And I don't know that they will be.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of it is, how do you do that, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting conversation, and I agree. I think this is something that should be examined. And I would say for any injury, like fuck critical injury. Like at the end of the day, you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
out there. You if you are robbed from the opportunity to play because you had a serious injury, whatever that may be, it's not like you decided not to show up to those games.
Right,
Like
right,
you got
right, right.
injured doing the exact thing. You should be entitled
Yeah,
to some sort of compensation. So I think
yeah.
entirely they should look over the structure of contracts over this. I agree with you 100%. As far as moving forward, I guess we still are waiting to find out what's going to happen with the league, how the situation is going to shake out with the Bills game specifically, or whatever the case may be. I just hope once again that everyone's focus is on the most important things. And once
Hmm.
again, just really hoping the best for Darvin Hamlin and all his family. Just a terrible situation, but I think what's the most sobering aspect of it is that you know and shout out to Ryan Clark because this is something that he said eloquently on the broadcast that night as well. Is like we always talk about the
Hmm.
cliches about how these guys are putting their lives on the line when they go out there, and it sucks to have a moment like this to say, you see, like that wasn't a cliche after all. But
Yeah.
this is the reality of what we choose to what they choose as a profession, what they sign
Hmm.
up for. Because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, I'm sure that they are all aware of the risks and what they're going up against on a day to day basis.
Hmm.
But I think a lot more respect is due, not just like the sanctity of the game. Don't troll these guys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying a lot more
Hmm.
respect is due for combat sports as well
Oh,
as
for sure.
NFL athletes that are dealing with literally the most high risk professions outside of military, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Oh,
agree
for
with that,
sure.
but
Yeah.
the fact that it is also televised for the masses is something that we as spectators enjoy.
Hmm.
I think it's on us to sort of do the right thing, and seeing Bengals and Bills fans out there, and just the reaction from everyone has been very heartwarming in a space where there's been some wild fucking news in the MMA that maybe we'll get into later, where I saw the
Hmm.
exact opposite, where people are just being pieces of shit just to be a piece of shit and rallying behind people that do disgusting things and defending them and
Yeah.
justifying them. I don't think that's been the case at all in the NFL with this story. So I'm really happy about that. But prayers for him and his family, and wish him for nothing but the best, man. This is a terrible situation.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
But with all that being said, I don't want to be that guy to say, well, the show goes on. But at the end of the day, we do have a week of coverage and a lot of stuff to talk about in the wider world of sports. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say our picks race is here. Don't get it twisted. It's here. But there's some calculations that need to be done on my end, just as far as the exact specifics. I think last time we checked in, I'm currently at a 7 point lead, but there's about 4 weeks now of games that need to be inputted into this. So we will update you this in between before the playoffs next week, just so you have an idea of where our picks journey went for this season. So
Yes,
that's the
sir.
update on that. And let's get right into week 18. So I misspoke earlier. There is no Thursday night game. It is only Saturday, Sunday because of the playoffs being next week. Um,
Isn't that
so
wild?
yeah, crazy.
This thing
I
went by
feel like the
quick.
last 4 weeks of this season have just been a blur, and it's not just because we didn't
Yeah.
record a show, but seriously, these last 4 weeks have been
Yeah.
a blur. So
Yeah.
crazy that we're already here. But our first Saturday game, we have the Chiefs at the Raiders. We don't have to spend too much time on this one, right?
Not at all. Not at all. The Raiders. Stid 'em.
Yeah. And still,
Yeah.
they're gonna be doing laps around the fucking Arrowhead. No, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah, nah, Chiefs are definitely winning this one. That's without without
Without
question they're
question,
winning this.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So we both are going with the Chiefs here. Anything to say about Patty Mahomes and his season this year, or
I think he's having a phenomenal season. I think he is. He's just not the MVP, but he's having a phenomenal season.
I'm loving it. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. We could get into
Yeah.
that. Maybe at the end of the show we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
But yes, we got the Chiefs here. We're moving on. Next up,
Yes, sir.
Titans at Jaguars, a divisional game that is going to determine who is coming out of this playoff contender. So kind of crazy. Shout out to the Jags for pulling it back big time coming into
Yeah.
this game, and obviously the Titans. trying to figure out what they're doing with their quarterback situation. So this is
Yeah.
a really interesting opportunity. And honestly, I'm just gonna do it, man. They played spoiler last year on this same week. I'm going with the Jags to make my prediction come true. You remember that? I remember that.
Hmm.
I ain't gonna let y'all
Yeah.
forget either. I think the Jags make the playoffs, like I said before the season, and it's just a fucking remarkable way to do it. Shout out Doug Peterson. Um, the way that they pulled it together on offense, and I had to,
That's my guy.
sometimes you gotta play to your co-host a little bit. You gotta, but
Yeah.
um, the way that they've been able to pull it together this season,
Yeah.
offensively specifically, has been remarkable to watch. So, going with the Jags here.
And they still don't have all their pieces. Calvin Ridley comes to join them next season. That's going to be phenomenal to watch.
Hmm.
I'm actually going with the Jags as well.
Nice. Yep.
I'm going with the Jags as well. The Titans, especially with the whole QB thing, like who's even playing? Is it Malik Willis
I
or
believe
not?
he's still injured, so it's gonna be a third stringer, which
Okay,
I don't even know who that is. So
I don't know who that is either. I'm going with the Jaguars because I don't think they're going to be able to uh, uh, ride Derrick Henry to victory. So
pause, but facts. Next
pause.
up,
Yeah, yeah.
Ravens at Bengals. I just want to say this real quick. I'm gonna be posting another hour episode tomorrow, covering
Yes,
this game in depth with my guy Logic.
yes.
So look out for that. So we'll make it brief here. I'm definitely going with the Ravens here. I think talking shit the way I was gonna before last Monday. Um, I'm not gonna do, but I do think that we're gonna win this game and come out the divisional leader at the end of the season. So that has been my prediction for a while now. I'm going with the Ravens here, but dicey matchup as well, considering Lamar Jackson's status is still undetermined.
Yeah. But you've got Huntley, man. I'm gonna be completely honest. With backup QBs, I think Huntley is the best.
Really, I
Yeah.
agreed with you on that. Like that's something low key I've been tooting my horn about. I think Gardner Minshew's on that list too, but I think I
Yeah,
think
no, he is. I
I,
just give a slight edge to Huntley because he's able to run.
yeah, and I think I'm a little torn, right? Because I'm a big fan. I've been watching these games. I think he has underperformed, frankly, since he's gotten the spot, and I don't blame him. Got thrust into a shitty situation. It is what it is. But I've
Yeah.
seen better performances out of him, so that's why
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
Yeah.
surprised that you said that. But I agree. I feel like he's
Yeah.
one of the better backups for sure, and to see
Yeah.
him rise to the occasion in the way he has, obviously, he hasn't come out to many wins at this point. I believe he's 1-2 as a starter, but um, still serviceable quarterback play in the league. Hard to find for sure.
I think we have the top two
Yeah,
backup QBs.
very fair. Jacoby Brissett's on that list as well. Tyrod Taylor's
I
on that
don't
list as well. Teddy Bridgewater, but
the reason why I can't put them there, I think they're up there. I just can't put them up there because they're always getting hurt.
yeah. And if your
They're just
backup's
always
hurt,
getting hurt.
you in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Baltimore on this one. I think
Really?
because
Wow.
I think you're playing in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
I would expect that Monday will have a slight impact on the Bengals.
Mhm.
I unfortunately I just think that it will, so I think because of that, on top of playing in Baltimore, I think the Ravens can get the win. It might be narrow, but I think they can get it.
For sure. And we'll leave it at that,
Yeah.
just because I'm fucking happy to hear it. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Browns at Steelers up next. I don't have the standings up. I should have them up. I'm gonna pull them up right now. I don't think the Browns are in contention anymore, right? They're out of the
I
playoff
don't think
race, I
I
believe.
think they're knocked out. Yeah.
So yeah, this I think the Steelers might still have a chance though, which is yeah, they do. Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
they do. So this game matters a lot for the Steelers. I'm not gonna lie to
Hmm.
you guys. I was talking a lot of shit about this team early on this year. Um, it's kind of like
Yeah.
so. I'm sure you play. Black Ops Zombies, right? I'm sure you play Call of Duty Zombies, right? Like
Yeah,
I feel like this Steelers team, once you have TJ Watt on the field, like this is when you get one of those crawlers, like when you throw a grenade at their feet
yeah,
and they and you running around the level, you got things to do, so you're not even worried about them. But then out of nowhere,
mm,
you hear the zombie in the background, like yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
you're looking around like where are they? And then they start slapping your ankles, and you're stuck in the corner, and
yeah,
it's embarrassing. You just got down by a zombie with no legs. Like that. That's what it felt like when the Steelers was turning it around initially. Right? They were 3-6,
mm,
and literally having won 7 out of 8 since, and have been doing big things defensively to keep them in games, but also been getting spectacular quarterback play from Kenny Pickett, which is amazing to see from a rookie. I think
yeah.
he got shit on a lot early, and rightfully so, maybe even. But to see
Mm.
him step up in a big way has been really dope. What are your thoughts on this matchup, man?
No, I think they're winning for sure. I think the Steelers are winning this one. Like I don't, I haven't watched any of the Browns games this year. No, take that back. I may have watched one or two early in the season, but I don't. I haven't watched any, especially since Watson's been playing. Is Miles Garrett back? Because I know he was
Yes.
out for a while. Okay, I don't even think that matters. I just wanted to know. I think the Steelers are winning this game.
I
they
still think
because
it's
it was wild they
close.
won last week. Oh, it's gonna be
Yeah.
close, but it was still wild they won last week. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
I was so mad. Try, once again, I'm gonna talk about this shit tomorrow too. But fuck you, Logic. I was talking to this man. I was talking to this man, and he jinxed it. Like before, bro, we was up 6 still, and they haven't even like started even remotely putting themselves in position to win yet. And he's like, "Y'all better not lose this game." And I'm like, "There's no way that's fucking happening." Like that's the first shit I messaged him. Like, there's no way that's happening. And then seeing the collapse, like I literally that night I literally cursed him out, bro. And I was tired of it. I was like, don't even fucking if you do some shit like that again, I was like, I'm gonna be mad petty to you from now on. I was
Yeah.
mad, bro. So shout out to those guys. They really made a miraculous comeback there for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But all right, next up, we've got Vikings at the Bears. I think it's important to mention that Justin Fields will not be playing. They announced that the backup is going to be starting because of an injury that he has, so not going to be able to break Lamar Jackson's single season rushing record for a quarterback. But a remarkable season nonetheless. With all that being said, Vikings are going to cook them here. So Vikings,
Oh, easily,
definitely.
easily. Yeah.
Shout out to the Bears though, man. Everyone likes to hate on him, and I think I was a part of that group for a long time. I kind of feel bad for him now. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel bad.
Look, I feel bad for Justin Fields. I don't know that I feel bad for the team. I feel bad for Fields because the team did some stupid stuff. I still don't know why they moved Robert Quinn when
Hmm.
I don't think they needed to. I
Yep.
mean, it was great for us, right? But I don't think they needed to move Quinn.
Yep.
Like you kind of sending mixed signals. You trade for Claypool, and then you trade away Quinn at the same time. So it's like, what are you accomplishing? That's
Yep.
a
And
lateral move.
Roquan
That
Smith too. It's
and
less than a
Roquan Smith
lateral
too.
move. Yeah.
That's yeah, no, yeah. So you're taking more steps back. I mean, you were already behind everybody. But you're taking more steps back. I
To
forgot
take
about
a
Roquan
half
Smith.
step forward because Chase
To,
Claypool ain't even a full step forward in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. So it's like I don't know what they're doing, but I hope. I've said this before. I hope the very moment that Fields becomes a free agent, I hope he takes the first plane out of Chicago.
Yep. And gets as big a contract as possible, guaranteed to do it. I agree.
Yeah,
Cause,
yeah,
cause,
yeah,
hey, I don't blame Lamar Jackson for sitting this season out, especially with the way he got injured and everything. I think that's even
yeah.
more leverage. So, especially as a quarterback that plays that way, like get your money, bro.
Hmm.
Get your money and get
Yeah.
out of there.
Oh, for sure. Like you're seeing the impact of these type of quarterbacks in the league right now, right? Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. You
Daniel
see how
Jones.
they play.
look, look, hey, I promise you, if you look at the side by side with him and
He does
Justin Field,
what?
listen, hit between him and listen to this. Believe me or not, I swear, look up Jalen Hurts numbers and look up Daniel Jones numbers and put them next to each other. They're more similar than you think. I swear to
Yeah, I don't consider him that kind of quarterback though. So I couldn't care less what his numbers say. he ain't that QB,
he don't
right?
pass the eye
But
test.
he does not. I mean, that I'm still pissed we gave up. I think like 80 yards to him on a run, and as slow as he runs, like that pissed me off, man. That's like, why would you do that? But when you have these type of quarterbacks, you need to have an offensive line that can hold up extremely well for them, so it disguises the run. What you're going to pass or you're going to run, right? And I think Jalen Hurts definitely has the best line to be able to do that. But I think if Lamar ends up staying, that's the whole like whatever picks y'all got this year, it's got to be all offensive line
Yep,
or trade for picks to get someone in there.
for sure,
Like I think you have to do that. So that's why I'm saying Justin Fields needs to get out of there because he doesn't have the line to run like that. Can you imagine if he was running behind Philly's line?
bro. Do we have 2,000 yards?
49ers line. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? It's like if he just had a line there, like he'd be phenomenal. Like he would probably be one of the front runners in the MVP conversation. That
eh,
dude is no, he probably would. He probably would. I mean, not in Chicago. I'm just saying like
yeah,
some
yeah.
other
I
team
know what
with
you
that
mean.
type of line.
Yeah,
That's all. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
agree.
yeah,
He's that kind of player. Shout out to him,
yeah.
man. That dude's a dog, but he's not even playing. So next up, we got a game that we are not sure is even happening. So do you even want to give a prediction on this, or do we just move on?
Which one?
Patriots Bills.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't.
just gonna
Yeah,
move on.
let's
Next
move
game
on,
we have Jets versus Dolphins.
bro. Why does this feel closer than it needs to be?
I think because both teams are still trying to get in the playoffs, right? Like that has to be the reason.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, where is it being played?
Miami.
I'm gonna give it to the Dolphins because the Jets are already eliminated. But actually, no. Who's that QB?
It ain't
Bridgewater's
Teddy.
not playing.
Yeah, it's somebody else. This is a third string nightmare right now. I feel like I'm doing a terrible job. I don't have these things up right now. Let me tell you right now. QB, boom. Skylar Thompson.
I don't even know
No,
who that
and they signed Mike Glennon. So
is. Oh, good luck.
not sure what's happening here.
I might go for the upset. I think the Jets might win this, and they don't even need to.
Yeah.
They're already eliminated.
Oh, they are. I thought they were still vying as well. No, yeah, they're
I think
seven and
there's.
nine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Honestly, I'm picking the Jets to be a spoiler here.
yeah, I
Let's
think
do
I
it.
think it's yeah. You have to because like who's throwing the ball? Like you're not. You can continue if and that's for Miami I'm talking about. But like Sauce Gardner is gonna eat.
I don't think I've
He
ever
might
heard
get.
anyone talk about a cornerback like that. That's interesting.
No, no, yeah, 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 but he might. I
He
think he
might
very
score
well
two
might.
touchdowns.
Two pick sixes and three or four interceptions total.
Just make him the default best corner in the league on this last
Yeah,
week of the season. Just do it.
yeah. Oh man, too bad fantasy doesn't count this week because
Ooh, yeah, that Jets defense would have went crazy.
Jesus.
Hey,
Yeah,
I can't remember the comedian. I feel like an asshole just stealing people's jokes on air. But one of my favorite storylines about this team is how he was like Robert Sala and how the irony of an Egyptian coach being the thing that turns the Jets' fortunes around. A Muslim Egyptian is the one who turned the fortunes around of the Jets. But they still have a long way to go. Still got a lot of things to figure out, but promising stuff this season, nonetheless.
yeah,
Next up,
for sure.
Bucks at Falcons in Atlanta. You're gonna be able to smell the hot dogs right out your house of this
Yeah,
game.
pretty much, pretty much. the
Uh,
Bucks already have the division locked up, right?
that is a good question. Yes, yes.
So you think they're
I
gonna
mean,
sit anybody?
technically, Saints could win and they could lose,
Oh, okay.
but no, you're right because the Bucks hold the tiebreaker anyway, so it wouldn't even matter. Yeah, Bucks locked it up.
So you think they might sit some people?
I hope not, but Mike Evans went off last week. Who knows? Tom Brady's arm's probably hurting a little. The fact that they even are making the playoffs is kind of crazy, to be honest.
It's weird. It's weird, but it tells you enough you need to know about that division.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers because I don't see why I need to go with the Falcons right now.
I feel that. I'm doing the same thing. It kind of feels like a trap though, like as I
It
type it in,
does. It
right?
does. Yeah.
And it isn't
It
like it
does.
doesn't even make sense that it does, but it does. We'll see.
Yeah.
Panthers at Saints, another game that is. I'm picking the Panthers in this one for no good reason other than they've been playing the spoiler lately, so why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, you might not even be playing your starters this week for either team.
Yeah,
Because what are you playing for? I'm gonna go Carolina as well.
I love when even if you don't admit it, even if it's not the truth, I just love feeling like I enticed you to do something a little bit, you know, just a little bit. Texans at Colts up next, another game that is entirely irrelevant. What are your thoughts?
Very irrelevant. Who's the QB for the Colts this week? Is it Matt Ryan again? Is he
Nope.
back up?
It's the other dude, Jeff Saturday.
He's lacing them up this week, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where are they playing?
You caught me off guard in Indiana.
I don't know. I feel like the Texans could win this one, and I don't know why.
I mean, anything could
I
happen,
don't know why.
right? Anything could happen.
Anything happened. But yeah, Pierce is out for the season, so I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Yeah, Taylor's out too. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
for nobody being in the stands on this game. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm picking the Colts here, but it doesn't matter. So you're going Texans or
it
Colts?
doesn't.
I don't even remember.
I'll go Colts. Yeah, I'll
All
go
right,
Colts.
sorry.
What happened with Foles though? Is he okay?
I believe he is still injured. I don't know the
Well,
exact
he's
injury. I
definitely
think it was
injured.
a shoulder, right?
Okay.
Nick
Okay.
I'll tell you in a sec. Sorry. Um, yeah, he got injured on that play by Kayvon Thibodeau, and
What did you
no
think
word
about
on his
that?
status yet.
What did you think about that celebration after the hit?
I think it's worse when you find out he's injured, right? I think
Yeah.
I think it's a routine celebration, and I think no player should ever feel like they shouldn't celebrate when they do something as spectacular as that, right?
Hmm.
I always been a fan of not calling those unsportsmanlike conduct calls, even if it does get kind of dicey. It was over the top, but I don't find too much fault in it personally.
I don't. I actually didn't have a problem with the Snow Angels, but when you went over and did the go to sleep celebration after you saw he was hurt,
And what are you playing
that I'm
for as
not
well,
feeling
right?
that.
Like this isn't a division
Yeah.
game.
No,
They
it's not.
weren't anywhere close to playoff. That's not like you knocked them out of the playoffs by doing that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. That was just weird. It was weird.
hey, I've done much worse for lesser accomplishments. So
No,
I
I'm
ain't
just
too
saying
sad. But
the whole go to sleep thing. I think the Snow Angels or whatever, that's right after the hit. You know, I get that. It's just the go to sleep thing. I felt that was
next level.
I think
And who knows,
that was
right? There could
unnecessary.
have been stuff happening on the sideline that we're not aware of that led to that. Who knows? But the optics of it, I agree, aren't good. But at the same time, I feel like to a certain extent there is room for mind games like that in sports. Whether or not you like it,
Mm-hmm.
not you specifically, but as a
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
whole, whether or not you like it, that is a part of the game.
yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the magnitude of other instances, like what happened with number three last week, like this changes the way we think about everything. Like
Oh, for
I
sure,
fully believe that. So I
for
get
sure.
your point as well. Um,
Yeah.
Next up, Cardinals at Niners.
Look, Hopkins ain't
Colt
playing.
McCoy.
The Cardinals have no chance. They have no hope.
Yeah.
They have no hope. But let me ask you this, because I kind of thought of a trade scenario earlier. What if what if the Steelers decide to trade for Hopkins? Because it's rumored that Hopkins is on the market
Hmm.
after the season. What if they decide to go get Hopkins?
What would they be giving up in this hypothetical?
I don't know. That's the biggest part of it. But my guess would be like a first round pick or something like that, and maybe a player.
Yes. I have someone. Just want to make sure I'm not saying his name incorrectly. Give me 1 second. Um, I hate when I have to do this on air. Sorry.
I
Uh,
know it's all good.
Benny
It's all good.
Benny Snell. Send over Benny Snell and a pick, who is one of their backup running backs. It starts to make sense. I don't know. I don't know. It'll definitely help the Steelers for sure. I mean, the Cardinals
It
probably
would.
aren't going to be anywhere near contention for a couple years at this point, with the way things got reset this year. But who knows? Crazier shit's happened, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Cliff Kingsbury's gone and they turn things around in a weird way. We'll see. But I think that definitely benefits the Steelers big time. But for the
Yeah.
Cardinals, it has to be just a reset push, which I don't think betting on the Steelers being bad is a good idea. Frankly, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why I said at the beginning of the season I thought every team in the AFC North was going to make it to the playoffs, just because I
Yeah.
think they're that consistently good. Obviously, ended up not being the case, but betting against the Steelers doing well doesn't sound like too good of an idea for me. So I don't know. Might be some better options out there to explore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next up, Cowboys at Commanders. Probably your favorite game to talk about this week. Just the in the mud championships.
Could
You
not care
got-
less about this game, bro. They're playing a third string QB in Washington. They ain't doing nothing. They're already out of playoff contention.
Mhm.
The
Put
Cowboys are
Cooper
winning this.
Put Cooper Rush in there by the second quarter. The Red Rocket.
I
Let's
agree.
get it. Let's get it going.
I agree. I agree. I don't think they should play Dak, but um, who
Go to
knows?
rain. I'm going with the Cowboys.
I'm going with the Cowboys too. I don't know how. I don't even know how with Carson Wentz or Taylor Heineke they win this game.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
So yeah,
Rams at Seahawks. A fun game that actually means something. Shout out my boy Baker, baby, out here doing the damn thing.
hey, Baker looks good, bro.
Thank you,
Baker looks good.
thank you. That means a
Baker
lot
looks
to
good.
me. You know.
But that's Baker in Los Angeles, not Carolina.
Do you think there's some white lightning involved? I got major Johnny Manziel vibes. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I I don't know. Are they even are they're in the playoff picture already, right? Or they're not?
Rams, no. Seahawks, they
Yeah.
need this to get in.
Oh, Seahawks are definitely winning this game. Like they're not allowing this to get out of hand. But the
Kind of been
Rams, they're not.
sucking the last couple weeks. Not gonna
They
lie.
have, they have. But I think when you have everything on the line,
Hmm.
I think you're gonna make that last push.
For sure. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, I'm
So
going. I'm going Seahawks too. I just want Gino in the playoffs, baby. That's a
it's
storyline we need.
comeback player of the year.
10 times out of 10, even though there's no comeback. Get some better fucking awards,
Just
NFL.
just
How
in
about
your
that?
opinion, yeah, yeah. But yeah, in your opinion, is he your
Oh, for sure. I've been riding that train all year. What about you?
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Phenomenal. I mean he resurrected his career,
For
to
sure.
be honest. So yeah.
I think when it comes to actually considering what the award is about, I think Joey Bosa's on that list too. But hey,
Hmm.
shit.
I
Sometimes
would I would
the awards don't mean shit.
yeah, yeah. I would put Brandon Graham on that list too.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep.
Yep, towards ACL. Now he's got last year, but he's back. I think with 10 sacks this year.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Giants at your Eagles. How excited for you for this game are you?
I shouldn't be excited. You know why?
Why?
Because we should have had this thing locked up 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I
But
agree. I agree on that.
but the reason why we didn't is because the MVP wasn't playing,
Hmm.
and I think that you put him out there
Sorry, I got a
this
little
week.
indigestion. Just
Oh, I thought,
off,
I thought
off
I was
that
about to,
statement.
you
Yeah, yeah.
scared the hell out of me with that, bro. I was about to say, what is going on here?
He's like, not
Um,
again. Not again. Oh,
oh my god! But no, I think the system will be back in place. That's Jalen Hurts' nickname now. The system. He is the system.
really? Wow.
He is the system.
I
I
don't. I don't
think
like that. I'm sorry.
no. I think it's perfect for him. I think I think when you're talking about like in like the grand scheme of nicknames, it's not the best one, right? It's not the best one. But when you look at him and the ridicule that's been upon him all season, right? And his dynamic play, I don't see how you could call him anything else but the system.
Come on,
He is the
bro.
system.
Come on, bro. I got
He
you one
is the
right now
system.
off the dome, bro. Off the
What's that?
dome. Because this
What's
doesn't
that?
happen often in anything else but combat sports. Give me a name. Catch this. Give me a name that isn't even at the front. Usually nicknames at the front. Give me
Mm.
Jalen Hurts feelings. Give me Jalen Hurts feelings, baby. That's
Oh,
that's what I need right there.
oh man,
Come on,
that's
man.
actually that'd be nice. That
That's
that'd be
tough,
nice.
bro.
That'd be
We
nice.
could run like a whole
But
NWA movement off of that.
but you could. But marketability, I think the system works a little better in terms of
For the
being
white
able
folks in
to.
Philly. Got you, got you, got you, got you. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Oh my God, no! But look, Michael Parsons said he was a system quarterback.
Hmm.
Chris Sims said that you put Gardner Minshew in there, and there's still this dynamic team. Which honestly, this is not all on Minshew. The two losses, those are not all on him. I
Hmm.
think it's on coaching as well. But Lane Johnson's been out, and then we've also had some guys that have been injured in the secondary that are coming back. But I think you put Jalen back in on that team, the system. He's the MVP. They get this win. There's no doubts about it.
I like that. I like that. So let's go. We're both going Eagles here, right?
Yes, sir.
Next up, Chargers at Broncos. Uh,
I don't think we need to talk about this too much. Chargers winning this one, but
are they
even though I think
anywhere?
that
No, I was gonna say, are they? Yeah, they're definitely getting a wild card spot for sure.
I think yeah, I think so. I think at the same time, as much ridicule as Wilson has gotten this season, I don't think that all of it is deserved to be on him.
Hmm.
Coaching had a lot to do with it. I think if they retool next year, they might be a little bit better than they should be a little bit better than what they've been this year.
Hmm.
But they're not winning this game. There's no way they win this game.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you
No.
100%. I'm going with the Chargers here. Lions at Packers. A fun game to close the season for the
Oh,
division. Best game at night, Sunday night. Beautiful.
that's a rough one.
Give me the Lions, baby. Lions and Jags make the
I
playoffs on the
know
last week of the season after everything I've been through. After
that.
everyone has pointed to the beginning predictions and said how stupid I was, let's go. That's what I need
The,
in my life.
yeah, now the storyline would be phenomenal. I think um we're seeing what we were talking about last year, right? You know how you and I were talking about the Lions last year, and we were saying they're not their record. They're just not their record. They had a horrible record last year, but they're not their record, right? I could see the Lions winning this game.
bro.
I could see it. I could see it.
Listen, it's very
I'm
rare.
going with them.
It's very rare that two white men are the leaders of your pass rush. But I love watching. I love watching the Lions defense go to work, man. Shout out Aiden Hutchinson. Shout out the Blonde Mamba, just doing the damn thing. Like I really feel like their defense is so slept on, considering how good and fun their offense is. So
Yeah.
and I just love to see Aaron Rodgers in the dirt, right? So my
Hey, man.
question to you is: after this game, win or lose, is 2023 slash 2024 season the beginning of the Jordan Love era?
In Green Bay?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't think so. Uh, they paid him how much?
too much. Yeah,
you're not you're not trading Aaron Rodgers away, right?
they might make him. I don't
I
know.
mean, look. I think Jordan Love leaves Green Bay, and I think he either battles for a backup position or as a starter somewhere else next year.
Okay, that's dope. I like that.
Yeah,
So who you picking in this game?
Detroit,
Nice. All right,
Detroit. I'm going with the Lions.
we did it, baby. That's week 18 in the books. Really looking forward. I'm gonna have us pencil in our answer to the game, whether or not it happens or not, just so we have it. But once again, please keep the right things in mind as we move forward in this NFL season, and whether or not these games even get played.
Yeah,
Keep your head in the right place. That's all I got to say, NFL wise. But
yeah,
there's been a lot going on in the NBA world that I think it's important for us to cover. And when it comes to MVP conversations, I mean, we already got into it a little on the NFL MVP.
yeah.
That's the only thing I want to talk about right now because there's so many things we could
Bet.
talk about as far as standings, as far as everything else,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is also fun to consider. But I think it's important to ask the question right now, at this point of the NBA season, who is your MVP and why?
Um, I have uh, hmm, Tatum's been my MVP. He's been my MVP. But I think
I mean, of course he
if you're
is.
talking about it, well, yeah, I think the battle to me is only between him and Jokic. Like,
Really?
yeah, I don't
Why is that,
look standings. I know
bro?
everybody wants.
When has
No,
that
no, no,
ever mattered for the
no, no,
MVP
no.
award?
I understand that, but if you're asking me what I think about the MVP, I think it should be the best player that's on the best team. Right now, the top two teams, East and West, Boston and Denver, and they're Jokic and Tatum are 1-1 against each other this year. They're split. So I can't. Tatum has beaten every other MVP candidate. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jokic has as well, or he's close to it. So right now, it's Tatum and then Jokic, but I think Jokic closed the gap a little bit.
Hmm.
And I think with the slump that Boston's experiencing right now, I'm not mad at switching it to Jokic Tatum. Um, but if you're looking at just individual play and impact on the team, that's why I have Tatum still at one, Jokic at two.
Okay, that's very fair. I personally am not going to be doing the whole records is the most important thing. I think there's a level of eye test that goes into this. And now I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you that both of the players that you named are on that level. and deserve to be in this conversation. First of all, I just want to say the fact that there's so many people in this conversation this year is what makes the
Yeah,
NBA so fucking fun. If you ask me,
yeah,
this is a much better product than the NFL across the board. Like across the
for
board,
sure, for sure.
so much. Even middle of the road teams are so fun to watch. So
Yeah,
once again, can't say enough good things. But at this point, man, you gotta go with Luka Doncic. You can't go
I knew you
against
were gonna say
Luka
that.
here. And I don't care. Call me a homer. Call me the thick white boy on the show that has to has to make the representation. Look, I think the numbers speak for themselves. Obviously, Jokic has similar numbers as far as basically averaging a triple double, but basically averaging a triple double in like 34 points is like ridiculous astronomical shit. Like if Westbrook was able to win MVP that year and he doesn't win MVP this year, like in my opinion, it's just a sham. Um, and it's not just like numbers are numbers, so numbers are fun. Like he elevated his game in a way that I didn't think was possible, considering how well he was already doing. Um, so I know that they're obviously I think sitting at fourth right now in the standings, so that plays a factor where everyone's sort of discounting him for that. But I think even on those two other teams, as far as the Celtics and the Nuggets, he plays a bigger role for the Mavs. I genuinely believe that he has less support than those other
Oh, for
players for
sure,
what
for sure.
and is asked to do more on a nightly basis than those other two players, and I think that should be counted for. And I think just if this is sustainable, right? I don't know what it is, but if he finishes out the season anywhere near his numbers right now and he doesn't get MVP, like I'm rioting. Like it doesn't make sense. And I get why standings matter. I get it. But when you're watching these games, respectfully, I love Jason Tatum, and I always make the argument for those people. I've been here this last 2 years saying he's a top five player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on that
Mm-hmm.
side of the field. I, but when you're watching these games, there's nobody as unstoppable as Luka Doncic has been, in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see how everything shakes out and whether or not it is sustainable. I think Shea is still in this conversation, even though obviously the Thunder are not going to be in a prime position to win anything this year. I think
Mm-hmm.
his play has been out of this world. I think Donovan Mitchell deserves some credit as well. Obviously, just had a 71-point game the other day. I had to check my glasses to make sure I wasn't seeing shit when I saw that notification come up. Um,
Yeah.
all of this just speaks to how fun the NBA is right now. So please, if you're not watching on a regular basis, get it before it's too
Mm-hmm.
late because it's not even the All Star break, and this is one of my favorite seasons in recent years that I can remember.
No, it's close. It's close for sure. That's why like I'm not even discounting, like anybody's order. I just think that for me, MVP means like not only what you're doing, like what you're averaging it out there on the court, but also how you lead your team to win as much as possible, right? And while Luca has the numbers, the right now today, that's not it's not impacted their wins as much as the other guys have.
Bro, they're 22-16. Like they're a couple games out of first place. Like,
They're I get that. I get
and they
that.
have a
That's
worse roster than any of those teams.
I look. No, I get the argument. I get the argument,
I want to argue with
but
you. I don't know if you could tell.
yeah, I know. It's all good because you're actually making Chris Robinson's argument too, from Everyday Genius. But I think for me, it's just about the standings, your impact. Um, Defensively, Tatum and Jokic are better defenders than Doncic. So it's like your impact on the court is more than just scoring. I can't just look at scoring and say, oh yeah, because you're scoring more in this window of space, like that means you're the best player. We like you just said, Shea Gilgis Alexander. I cannot speak today, my God, but he's not going to be considered MVP at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? But he has the numbers to say he should be in the conversation. I agree with you. he. If you look at his impact, he should be in the conversation. But he's not going to be because what wins also matter in that conversation. I think the only reason why Westbrook won that year is because he actually he averaged a triple double,
Yep.
and that's not been done. You
Ever.
know, what I'm saying like that's not been done. So like that's the only reason why I think like as well as Luka has been playing this year, he's a phenomenal basketball player. But Tatum and Jokic play both sides of the ball, and they play at a high rate too. Like it's not like
That's the key
they're
word,
not
high
lax.
rate. Because I'm gonna be clear, I don't think Luca is the liability that he once was on defense. I think
He's not. He's gotten
there's
better.
still yeah, there's room
Yeah,
for improvement 100%. I agree with you on everything you said. I think both of those guys deserve the credit when it comes to that part of the game, 100%. Um, but there has been improvements. That's why I
oh for
gotta
sure.
plant the flag here.
No, and I don't mean to discount him in any way, shape, or form, but
I like
those
it. No,
guys are
you're
just
good.
better. They're
Hmm.
better defenders. They're just
For
better
sure.
defenders.
Yep.
So when you're playing both ends of the court, playing at an MVP level, to me that means something,
I agree
right?
with you. Yep.
Like I would almost, I think I would even put Embiid above Luca. I might have it Tatum, Jokic, Embiid, Luca,
Yep. That's
or
fair.
and then Giannis. I forgot about Giannis. Right now, my top three. I'm gonna just give you my top three. That's Tatum, Jokic, Luca, and and like I said, I could put Embiid above him. Yeah, so maybe I'll put Tatum. Yeah, Tatum, Jokic, Embiid, then Luca.
No matter what, I don't matter who. I don't care who wins as long as it's not Jokic. Respectfully, we can't have a
Oh
three-time
no, he
MVP.
can't. He's not gonna be. He can't be 3 time
It's not gonna
MVP.
happen.
No.
Even if he deserves it, it's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Especially if you look. This is the reason why I think that at least the MVP award should be given at the end of the playoffs because what you do in the playoffs matters, right? And I'm not saying that you have to get a championship to be considered MVP. But let's say that uh the Nuggets can't get to the finals. They get to the Western Conference Finals, but they get knocked out for whatever reason. And then the Celtics make it to the finals, right? To me, I think that like where they end their season should be what edges that candidate over the other candidate.
That's interesting. Yeah, I kind of like
that
that.
that's where I think because the MVP conversation just being a regular season award, I've never enjoyed that.
Hmm.
I've never enjoyed that because you could have said LeBron was the MVP for
Every
the
year
majority of
he's
his
played.
career. Yeah, I mean you literally could have said that.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think playoffs should count as
Hmm.
well.
Given
I
that
think it
theory,
should.
do you think Steph Curry would have been the MVP last year?
Yeah,
For sure, I agree.
yeah.
I kind of wanted to hurt you there, and I didn't. I'm surprised.
No, it didn't hurt me. Yeah, it
I kind of wanted to.
didn't. Nah, nah. Because I mean, he played at a ridiculous level.
Level. Even before the playoffs, I agree 100%.
Yeah, he was just insane. So yeah, with that theory, yeah, he should have definitely won MVP.
So low key under the radar storylines on the NBA before we get out of here. Anything stick out to
Mhm.
you that has been exciting, shocking, surprising, all the above, and anything you want to mention?
Ooh, I'm not going to talk about my team. Let me not talk about the Celtics. I would say, ooh, that's a good question. I think the Nuggets being first right now in the West is very intriguing. I think the fact that you know you have the Clippers out there that are playing a little bit better than what they were playing in the beginning of the season. Um, but the Nuggets playing just at that high level over there.
Hmm.
I think going into the playoffs, it's going to be hard to knock them off.
Hmm.
I could actually see it being Boston and Denver in the finals. I could see that. I do. I think it's going to happen. No, because I think it's going to end up being. It likely could be the Clippers that come out the West,
Hmm.
but Denver is playing at a much higher level than I think a lot of people expected them to.
For sure.
You
An-
know,
Another team that's on that short list has to be the Pelicans, man. Like
the Pelicans too. Yeah,
insane,
yeah,
insane,
yeah.
and really caught me off guard because obviously you're a fan of some of these guys and you expect them to make elite, but didn't expect
Hmm.
as a team, not even like their stars have been really healthy to make it happen the last couple of weeks, and they've still been consistently winning and keeping pace
Yeah,
basically at that first seed spot. I think they're one game behind Denver right now, so that's
yeah.
insane.
Because
But
Zion.
my number one, go ahead. Sorry, I'm gonna let you.
Oh no, I
Zion,
was
what?
gonna say Zion's out for like 3 or 4 weeks. I think though with the
Yeah,
hamstring,
for sure,
so
and he has been
that's
out.
definitely gonna hurt.
Bi has been out as well, and they've still somehow been winning a ton of games. So that's a
Yeah.
team to keep your eye on for sure. And then my number one, listen, we've made a I was gonna say living, but we've made significant spent significant time on this show shitting on the Nets. Jock motherfucking Vaughn. Put some respect on his name. Because the fact that they
Bro.
have won 12 straight and are in second place right now in the East after
Hmm.
all the shit that we talked rightfully show about their roster and about their
Hmm.
capabilities. Um, I just love to see good things happening for Jock Vaughn and that team, even though were we will shit on this team still.
I was gonna say
Um,
rightfully so though, because like it's not like they've proven us wrong.
I think at this point they have though. And it's not because of the roster; it's because of the coaching, and that was your main point. So that
That was
coming to
one of the
light is
biggest
really
points.
interesting.
That was one of the biggest points, but I also think it comes down to the roster as well. Because not only was it coaching, but it was the fact that they moved on from Jared Allen or Karis LeVert. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it had those guys been there, I don't know that they would have had as much trouble.
In the first place, you mean like before
Yeah,
this? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
fair.
don't know they
That's
would have
fair.
had much trouble.
I just feel like at this point, like even though we definitely harp on that and it makes a lot of sense, I feel like at this point, what are we 2, 3 years removed from that? Like at this point,
Mm,
I honestly I'm shocked at the fact that they've been able to do this well, and I don't think it's sustainable. But I think if by the
it's
end of
not.
the season, if by the end of the season they're still in the upper half of the East, that is remarkable. After where we
Oh
started
yeah,
the season, this season,
yeah,
that is
yeah,
remarkable for sure. So shout
yeah.
out
Most
Jock Vaughn,
definitely.
not wishing him nothing but the best. And then my final
Yeah.
thing, just dancing, doing the jig over here on the Minnesota Timberwolves. What the fuck is the plan here? What was the plan? And make it make sense. That's all I gotta say. Make it make sense.
I I think the plan was to win.
And that ain't what they doing
However,
for sure.
that was never going to happen. Like I think they gave it way too much.
Hmm.
They just gave it way too much. I mean, I understand the reason why they did what they did, but I don't understand why they did what they did at the same
Yeah,
time. Like that move just made no sense to me. So
very fair.
yeah, I don't even know where they're sitting in the standings right now, but I don't expect them to be. If they get into the playoffs, I don't expect them to get past the first round
For sure, or out of the fucking plan. Yeah,
or
they're
out of the
in
plans.
11th. They're sitting at 11th right now behind the Jazz. So,
Oh, good luck, because the Jazz aren't staying there.
yeah,
The Jazz aren't staying there, but yeah, good luck. I mean, that front office needs to be revamped. If they don't get anything done this year, if they can't even make it to the playoffs this year after making that trade, that front office needs to go.
no matter what happens, I just hope that Pat Bev doesn't somehow take credit for this team being in the mud. Next up,
Oh, he's going to. He's going to. You know that.
fucking Pat Bev. Oh man. Um, is there any other New Year storylines or anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here, brother?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we hit on all the points that we wanted to make.
All right. Well, now here's where I start airing out the block. Right. Two
Yes, sir.
stories that I think are very significant in the MMA landscape. Let's start with the most significant, in my opinion, which is scary stuff. And I still don't think The reality of it is fully understood. Phil Baroni, do you know who that is? First of all, I gotta ask.
The name sounds familiar,
Yes.
but not off the top of my head. No.
Yeah, no. Not many people do. So, very niche person, but a UFC and Pride veteran was arrested over the weekend. Well, not over the weekend, sorry. 2 days ago now, for murdering his girlfriend in Mexico. Um, and this is a
Whoa.
terrifying situation. Obviously, he was in Mexico, I believe, training to fight for an organization called Combache. I hope I'm not making that up, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. But just a terrifying situation. Obviously, the reality of, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry, my Mac, my male Siri, just trying to figure out what's going on here. Um, no, just a fucking wild situation. Apparently, the story is she told him that she was cheating. The altercation got physical. He admitted to throwing her in the bathtub, and then she passed away there. That was his story. Um, there was significant photos that you can see if you're interested,
Nope.
of his hands. You could see the level of trauma on his hands from what he did. um, I hope he gets the book regardless of how it looks, what it is, the circumstance. um,
Yeah.
I hope he gets whatever he has coming to him for that. That's shocking stuff and just horrifying, terrible stuff that you never want to hear, especially tied to situations like this. Given that he has been directly affected 100% by his time competing, I think the amount of times he's been knocked out says that before you even find out about something like this. So just a
Mm.
devastating story all over that really puts a black eye on the sport. On top of another terrifying storyline we have. But I just want to say, first and foremost, um, mental health is very real. And there were many signs leading up to this that he was not okay. And I think there's only so much family and other people can do in situations like this, which is what makes this kind of even more scary of a situation. But I don't know how to stop this. I don't know how to change this. I don't know how to monitor this. But I think really, if people in your life are showing signs of not being right, not being who they once were in any capacity, I think you need
Mm.
to speak out and really try to make an impact as soon as you can, because you don't know how far these things can go. And the last position you want to be in is looking back and saying, man, I wish I could have done something more. So just a horrible situation. Wishing nothing best to the victim's family and everything that they are having to deal with on this terrible fallout of what's going on. Wishing nothing but negative things on him and his future. Obviously, just a fucking scum of the earth. But we move on from that to say, go from one domestic violence issue to another. Dana White. Which, have you heard about this? I want to ask you first. Have you heard about
I
this
I
at all?
heard I heard something. I didn't get to read the article
Mhm.
about it,
So
but yeah.
it is disturbing for many reasons. I'm going to try to break this down as fast as I can, but the video of itself is jarring. Obviously, the story is, and I want to be very specific about this because I think it's important. The story is, they're drunk on New Year's Eve in Mexico, partying, whatever. The video altercation starts with his wife looking very distressed. At one point, he comes over to her and like sort of grabs her hands. I don't know what he was restraining her for, what he was trying to do. Obviously, I wasn't there. But after that, she retaliated by slapping him, and then Dana retaliated by slapping her multiple times, and ended up having to be separated from her. First and foremost, I just want to say once again, there is no excuse, there is no explanation, there is no I shouldn't have done that. When it comes to stuff like this, um, you really need to you really need to be careful on how A, you choose to respond, and
Mm.
B, how we as a society allow people to exist when they make the wrong choice. And now I say that because obviously he retaliated and hit his wife multiple times, And the
Mm-hmm.
story initially out of TMZ and other news organizations that broke it isn't even the fact that it happened. It's Dana White apologizes for X, Y, and Z before the video even came out. So let me make this very clear and why that's significant. TMZ is very clearly in bed with the parent company for the UFC, Endeavor. On top of that,
Mm-hmm.
the TMZ has shilled for the UFC on multiple occasions already. So there's a pre existing relationship here. When have you ever seen a TMZ clip where they bring in the celebrity doing something
Mm-hmm.
fucked up and allow them to rectify themselves before we get to make an opinion on the fucking video? Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be more transparent, right? You can't be more transparent about
Mm-hmm.
how in bed you are with this person. ESPN's coverage of this is not what happened. It is Dana White apologizes for what happened. Do I think anything is going to happen to him? Do you think anything is going
Oh
to happen
no.
to him?
No, 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 no. I think when you're, I want to be very clear when I say this too. When you're a white male with money, you're not going to be held to the same standard as everybody else. It's just that's just the bottom line of it. So Dana White, I think the coverage of it shows you how biased things are as well. But I think Dana needs to feel this. I think he needs to. There's no way, and I don't know how you, because it's almost like when you're talking like the NFL team, right? Like, how do you force a team owner, to either sell a team or step out of a specific position, right? I don't know how you force Dana to step aside, but he needs to step aside.
Dude.
I don't know
And
how you do it though.
yeah, and absolutely nothing is going to happen. I'm willing
No,
to bet money
no,
he's going to be there on the 14th, which is the first event of
for
this
sure.
year, and rallying the troops as if nothing happened. I
Yeah.
listen. I pray that somebody, and shout out. I'm going to pull up his name as I talk here because I think this is important. This is someone, actually one of the very few verified Twitter users who is following your boy. So I got to mention that. Uh, but there's there's so many reporters in the sport that have made it clear that they're not willing to do certain things. Um,
Mm,
he has said, and I'm going to pull up his name. Sorry, I'm being vague about this, but he has said, I'm going to absolutely be asking Dana White questions about this. And I think that is
yeah.
important because I think the
Yeah.
coverage and journalism in MMA, unfortunately, is not up to snuff when it comes to other sports and their willingness to be blunt and really address the issues
Hmm.
in the room. I think someone needs
Hmm.
to address this publicly because the parent company is not willing to do it. Um,
Hmm.
Even news outlets, to a certain extent, is not willing to do it. So please put him on the hot seat as often as possible. I hope fighters come out and say something about this because the amount of rants that he has about fighters committing domestic violence instances. I retweeted a
Hey,
quote. I retweeted a quote. Let me just read this word for word because I think this is the best quote in the fallout of this that I've seen that really reminds me of just how much of a fucking idiot this guy is for doing this as well. There's one thing that you never bounce back from, and that's putting your hands on a woman. Been that way in the UFC since we started here. You don't bounce
hmm,
back for putting your hands on a woman, period. 2014.
yeah,
2014, this was said. So, once again,
yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think the fact that he's white, the fact that he has all this money and all this status, is going to change the way he is consequenced about this. I hope it doesn't, but it will. And it's already been
hmm,
shown that that's going to happen.
oh
I
yeah,
personally
yeah,
want to ask you if this was Roger Goodell, if this was Adam Silver,
hmm,
this is a much bigger story, right? Like,
oh
this
for
is not.
sure, for sure. But that's also because like the team owners would probably end up voting Goodell or Silver out of position.
Hmm,
I don't know how you vote Dana out of position. Like that's the difference here. I don't know how you get him out of position because for as much as a rant as he went on with John Jones
Hmm.
for anything that he did, for as much as of a rant that he went on with, I mean, he really didn't even go in on Conor McGregor as much as he should have gone in on Conor when he did that whole thing in the bar. But for Conor, for John Jones, for God, there was someone else that got into some issues as well. BJ Penn.
Yep. Brawling out
Let's
there at the lava
keep,
shack. Yeah,
keep that. Let's keep that same energy.
for
Let's
real.
keep that same energy. I think when you're talking about, this is another issue that I have with society in general, but when you're talking about protecting women, you cannot be selective with it.
Hmm.
Should she have put her hands on him? No, but that's not an excuse or reason for him to put his hands on her and multiple times on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you cannot say that you're for protecting women and doing everything you can to not protect them.
Literally.
You just can't do that. You can't do that.
And it's
So
just so
yeah.
tasteless, bro. Like, and please, I encourage you watch the TMZ interview. It sounds like
Oh,
he's
I
at a
will.
fucking UFC press conference. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this fucked up shit happens. Me and her apologize, and we're great. I hope we move forward well. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how are y'all allowing this? And you know what the fucking follow up question was from those guys? I don't even know their fucking names, but the main TMZ reporters that are always asking questions. You know what their main follow up was? What do you even remember that night or what happened? Were you drunk? That was the only fucking
I'm
question that they asked him.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Was this what's his name? Howard?
Yeah, of course, the founder and the guy with the dreads. I don't know
Yeah.
either of their names,
The
but
guy with the
it
locks. I
was
was
the
about to ask
guys.
you
Yeah,
about him
yeah.
too. Yeah. Okay.
Idiots, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can you be more blatantly obvious? If this was anyone else, they wouldn't have been on the show. They would have been airing.
Oh, no, no,
The
no.
whole panel would have been airing him out. He needs to be fired. All this shit.
Yeah.
It leaves
Yeah.
such
Not
a
only
bad
would he
taste in
not
my
be on
mouth,
the
bro.
show, not only would he have not been on the show if he were black, but this would have been bigger news
He would have
than
been
it
fired
actually
already.
was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'd have been let go. Like it's no, like you see what happened with, and it's not the same thing in terms of like the actual action, but like Ime Udoka or TJ Holmes from NBC, right?
Wow. Yep.
Like immediate action is gone against them.
And some could even
The
say unjust. Yeah.
however you want to put it, but it was immediately done. I don't know how you do this with someone that is the boss. I don't know how you do that.
I think you force them
And
to
that
sell the
might be
same
the
way you do everyone
stakeholders.
else. Force them to
That
sell.
might be the stakeholders, though, the shareholders. That
Hmm.
might be them. That might be on them. But even at that, I'm pretty sure that he has them in his pockets. So I
Oh,
don't know how you
100%.
do it. I don't know how you
100%.
do it.
I don't see it changing. I think he's going to continue to be the commissioner. I
Oh,
doubt
for
this is
sure.
going to be a fucking blip on the radar. But ESPN, you
Yeah.
should be ashamed of yourselves. I don't care. I've been wanting you guys to cover this sport for years. Cover the fucking
Hmm.
sport because if you're not covering this, if you're not making this the fucking story that it deserves to be, not because I'm trying to be a white knight. That's another thing that blows my mind about this. The amount of I had this is the first time the Twitter trolls have gotten to me and
Oh,
literally have
cool.
tried to air me out. And the best part about it is homie got ratioed and I didn't even respond. Other people responded for me and he got
Yeah.
ratioed. But literally, the
Yeah.
white knights are out doing everything they can to try to justify she hit him first. You shouldn't. One of the fighters. Oh man, I'm such a big fan of his, but at this point, I could care less whether or not he wins ever again. Jamal Hill. I'm the same by name. Huge prospect.
Oh
Big
man.
fan of him. You know what this man said? If you don't want to get hit, you don't hit people. Period. Hashtag real as it gets. Like you're a fucking idiot, bro. Like I don't
This is the
care.
this
Go
is the
ahead. Sorry.
reason why social media just is just trash. Everybody's got a voice, and not that people shouldn't have a voice, but when everybody's able to just voice their opinion so haphazardly, like I'm at the point where I really would love if social media was more controlled. You know how you can't say certain things on the radio because of FCC, or you can't say certain things on TV because of the FCC. That should be the social media should be the exact same way. Should be the exact same way. You should not be able to say certain things on social media and get away with it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that has, to me, that has consequences to it.
Should.
Because if is he a fighter that fights in the UFC?
He's fighting for a title in a couple weeks.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why.
Yep.
You know,
Shilling,
you want
shilling
to be
for
on
the
Dana
owner.
White's
Yeah.
you want to be on Dana White's good side.
And speaking of, there was one more significant person that uh, spoke out about this. His name is Derrick Brunson, and he fought someone
Oh,
that was also
yes.
having. I don't know if you remember this. He fought someone that was also having domestic violence issues, and he wore a shirt that says, I beat up domestic abusers," and sold the shirt, and is out here
Yeah.
defending Dana White. Everyone deserves a second chance,
He did?
bro. All
Get
respect
out
is
of
lost,
See,
bro. All
I,
respect is lost. Y'all are some dick riders on God, and I don't care. I really don't care.
nah, that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Because and look, I don't have a problem with ridiculing people who need to be ridiculed, right? But keep that same energy, because when you do that, like if I did something wrong, I'd expect for you and others to call me out on it. I expect that. I've called so many people out, not only on this show but on social media, right? So, God forbid I were to do something at some point, you have this clip, play it. You know what I'm saying? Because I should be held accountable for my actions, especially if you're talking about like hitting a woman. Like, what, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, I would expect that most guys at this point would be like, you know what, like especially in 2023, if you get slapped by a woman, like, think through it.
Fuck think through it, secure the bag, king. That's assault. You gonna get
That's
your bread,
assault.
like.
That's assault. But that's what I'm saying. Think through it. You don't. There's no reason you should be putting your hand on a woman.
Yep.
The only time something like that should even be plausible is if you're defending your life. If you're in fear for your safety, that's the only way. It's like, okay, gloves off, right? In my opinion, like if you're really in fear for your life, if someone's
There's a
got
knife.
a
If
gun on
there's
you
a
or whatever,
gun, yeah, different
yeah,
situation.
something like that. If that's the case, then you got to do what you got to do to survive. But when you're in that position where as a man, if a woman assaults you, there's no way, like, and you're talking about just like a slap or something like that. There's no way. There's no way. Keep your hands to yourself, bro.
No
There's no way.
justification.
There's no justification for it. No, there's none.
And
Walk
he
away.
himself, Dana White himself, has said the same exact thing. And please, once again, check out the TMZ interview, because the
I
first
will.
thing he
I will.
says is, "I have said this many times, and now I'm here on TMZ talking about it." And that doesn't get a
Yeah.
follow up question, my guy. Like, disgusted by the coverage of this.
Yeah.
And I really hope that, once again, asking for accountability in MMA in 2023 is like, the definition of insanity, right? That I should
Yeah. Yeah.
I should not be surprised, but I'm
Yeah.
really floored that this is this is the man that so many choose to rally behind. And shout out to Ariel Hawani, because obviously he's been in a feud with Dana White for many years. And every
Oh
single
yeah.
report today that come out from any outlet that reported anything, he retweeted it. And then at the end of him retweeting all those different clips, he put out that coach speech where he's like, "They are who we thought they were." And
Yeah.
really, like, that is the
Yeah.
best thing that I've seen this entire thing, because obviously I've been firm on the idea that Dana White is the scum of the earth already. And as a
Yeah.
fan of the UFC, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
But yeah, kick him out of there. Make fucking Cormier the commissioner, and I'm sure
wouldn't that be phenomenal?
he'll do a great job taking that torch and running with it. Because he already is such a shill anyway. So he's already Captain UFC. You might as
Yeah,
well just elevate him, and then you have an actual storied athlete from your organization that is running
someone
your
that knows what
organization.
it that can run the organization from the fighter's perspective.
And I don't even think he will. But from a closer perspective than Dana White was, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
I'm
At least
exhausted,
you'd have
Derek.
someone that's, but at least you would have someone that is actually like that's fighting for the fighters. That's
For
my
sure.
point. He'll be fighting for the fighters, unlike Dana.
I've heard him say some shit that I don't even know if that'll be the case. I think he might still be about the bottom line and all that stuff. But lesser of two evils.
For
Lesser
sure,
of two
for
evils,
sure,
right?
for sure.
For
Yeah,
sure. I'm
I
exhausted,
think he
Derek.
would do a better job.
Take us home.
Me too.
Take us home, brother.
Well, listen, thank you guys for watching, for listening. If you're listening, please, if you have not done so yet, hit that subscribe button wherever your platform you're listening to us on. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell for whenever we post anything up. You'll be the first to know what's coming out. Um, Again, follow OTS Media Co. all social media platforms. The Sideline guys will have a bigger impact and presence this year, and we promise you guys that this is the first of many for this year. So please be on the lookout for more. And thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.